Totem Pole Nation. We are here on a Tuesday afternoon. Me, Lambo, and the man from Soul. How was your day, the man from Soul? I know you're blessed. You've been a great addition to Totem Pole Sports.
Thank you, sir. I've been out looking for a job. I passed by Raising Cane's today. I was like, man, I'm gonna get me a job in there and get me some free chicken. So I might apply for a job at Raising Cane's.
I advise you to the best of my ability to not do that because we are just hiring any random people. And no disrespect to the elders, but some of the old people, we already have a 60-year-old woman who has two discs on her back and she can't handle it. You got to be fast at Raising Cane's. All we do is serve chicken, fries, and toast. You have to be fast and quick and have some SOU. You got to have some sense of urgency. The man from Seoul, I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do it. I think it may be a little bit difficult for you.
I'll try anything once. I'd like to do it. Let me just do it for like a month. See how fun it is.
Well, then it's just useless if you just do it for a month. I think you could try harder. But we got to get into a lot of sports. Now, last night, OKC, second team to, finish the series. They beat the Pelicans. It was a hard fought, tough game without Zion Williamson. Ladies and gentlemen, OKC, despite their lack of playoff experience, they know how to win. They know how to win. A great core, Shea Gillis, Alexander, Chet Holmgren. They got a great defense. I don't know how to pronounce the coach's name, but the coach is great. They can play offense and they can play defense. They're going to be tough on the winner of the Clippers and the Mavericks. Both teams not playing so well. What are your thoughts on the OKC Thunder making it to the second round for the first time in a very long time? We're talking about post Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Melo. They about to make it far even in that group. How do you feel about OKC?
Uh, Not bad. I think that first game of the series took them a little while to get going, and it's really the only time I watched. I mean, actually, I watched the second game too, but they looked a little sluggish. But they've got their mojo working now. They know exactly who they are. Still a young basketball team, and again, in the second round, it's interesting enough. We get several clashes in styles, and that one, um, presuming the Clippers move on, you got a clash in like experience versus the youth of the league. That will be very interesting. And right now, I can't lead one way or the other. If we get to that point,
All right. How do you feel about last night's game? The Celtics win again by 20 points. Not only that, the defense has been efficient. I know we lost game two. We were supposed to win, and you made fun of me for the Celtics being 1-1. But Derek White dropped 38 points. How do you feel about that?
well, they're right where they're supposed to be. I mean, yeah, they had a mental lapse in game two, or this would be a sweep. Um, they just didn't grab the bull by the horns that that game, and again, but fortunate for them, they get to go back to Boston and put this thing away. Um, Again, shake the rust out. Played one more game than they wanted to, but you know they got a chance to get everybody clicking. Got to be got to be very diligent on those injuries. I hope those guys are getting treatment. Those little things could add up to big things. But they're well on their way. Second round matchup, I don't think will be anywhere close to this matchup. It's just going to be an odd duck. That series is going to be odd, no matter who comes through in the 4-5 game. Just I can't even picture it. Either team playing the Celtics. Um, but yeah, they're right where they're supposed to be. I mean, no surprises there.
All Right. The final game, the Lakers and the Nuggets. It was very close till the end. Now, I know there was, people could say, well, they challenged the call, they got it correct, and they weren't getting a timeout. They only had one timeout left, and maybe the rules said they're supposed to get back that timeout or gain one. I'm not sure, but they had no timeouts left. And Jamal Murray, yet again, hits the buzzer beater. How you doing, Keys? Thank you for coming to the stream. But Jamal Murray again hits the buzzer beater once again. And this is the final year of LeBron in LA. The final year. I mean, LeBron's averaging all these numbers. LeBron picks his own teammates. Uh, Nobody else stepped up to the plate. And yet again, they folded again. They just folded. I mean, Darvin Ham is probably the worst coach as an LA Laker. He was the great assistant for the Milwaukee Bucks, but this guy just doesn't know how to make any damn adjustments. He's not a good coach, and I don't care what excuses you want to bring to the Lakers or whatever. But the Lakers were up the whole series, right? They were up 12 points in game one, 20 points in game two. 15 in game three. Somehow they still managed to blow those leads. I don't want to hear any excuses. Y'all said LeBron's the GOAT. I'm not disrespecting LeBron saying he's not great, but how many excuses are we going to give LeBron James? This is LeBron James' final year in LA. What are your thoughts on that game? And the Nuggets versus the Timberwolves is going to be a great series, a great physical
Absolutely,
series.
absolutely. My thoughts. One, I, I, I can't agree with you more on that. One, they had control of this series. Again, the Nuggets did not shoot at the clip they shot at the regular season. They missed a lot of open threes last night. Just not clicking from 3 point range, or last night's game wasn't even close. I mean, they missed so many open 3 pointers that it allowed the game to be uh, competitive throughout. Um, and those threes didn't allow the Nuggets to get out on their normal runs and spurts throughout the game. But I will say this: uh, I don't I don't particularly like uh, one. I didn't like the question to LeBron. I think it was unfair. I mean, at that point in time. But two, like the way he answered the question, it just I'm like, oh no, here we go again. Like the season's over for the Lakers, but all the attention will be on what he's doing. To include attention on him throughout the NBA Finals. And I was just trying to look up the the I'll get it here later, but I was trying to look out the where the last day LeBron can opt out of his contract.
And you still agree that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, the greatest to ever touch a basketball. Well, the man from Soul went off. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lakers. LeBron is averaging all these points. AD is up and down. Austin Reeves is here and there, but he's not officially there just yet. He's not there just yet. Um, when it comes to the series, the Denver Nuggets, they're the defending champions. They're the defending champions for a reason. This Nuggets team, and I know the NBA says, you shouldn't allow the Nuggets to win back to back series, right? You shouldn't allow the Denver Nuggets to win back to back series. But ladies and gentlemen, this might happen. maybe the NBA, maybe the NBA scripted it and says, "Oh, we're gonna go ahead and let the Nuggets win again." Now, who's a threat to the Nuggets? The Timberwolves are probably a threat. Um, maybe the Dallas Mavericks, if it includes defense. It's all about defense when it comes to this series. Um, Lakers, I've never like when is the last time the Lakers right? They went through two coaches. I think they went through Wooden, then they won the NBA Finals, missed the playoffs in 1 year, 2022. They missed the playoffs. They lost to the Suns. They either the playoffs they either lose to the Suns or they lose to the Nuggets. Like the Lakers need a stronger bench, and it's funny to me, and I still think it's funny to me that you call LeBron the greatest of all time, but this man gets to pick and choose his roster, and no matter what the roster is, he still finds a way to not win the series. And I'm not saying that LeBron is going to win a championship every single year. But at the end of the day, it comes down to consistency, right? It comes down to being consistent on a daily basis. You have to be consistent when you're GOAT James, right? I mean, it's kind of maybe the same situation when it comes to Kevin Durant, the man from Soul. Did you find the answer?
I did, and it just
What's the
strikes up
answer?
more interesting commentary. Okay, here we go, Lambo. The I don't know when the NBA Finals starts,
June, like
but
sometime in June.
okay, so his date is June 29th. What does that mean to you? The NBA draft is June 26th and 27th. So LeBron has until after the draft to opt out of his contract, meaning he controls, he basically controls what the Lakers do and don't do from this moment on. So, and again, we're going to hear a lot about his opt out during the NBA Finals. He may even opt out during the NBA Finals, but I doubt it because he's got that date after the draft, and we know Bronny's lingering out there. So he would be able to see the draft in front of him before he has to make a decision on his future. Not a bad place to be if I'm him.
Well, we'll see how this goes. LeBron is actually on the final year of his contract, so we will see how this goes. Comes to the Lakers. Um, how do you feel about tonight's game? That in Indiana close out the series at Milwaukee.
Um, yes. However, um, yes and no. It's in Milwaukee. Giannis, Dame time, and Middleton are game time decisions. So I have to see how that pans out. But I think we discussed this yesterday. As far as I'm concerned, the way the Pacers shoot the basketball, do I anticipate them shooting poorly 3 straight games? No. And if they don't, they're going to beat Milwaukee because it's not 2-2, it's 3-1. All they got to do is win one game, 1 out of 3. So if not tonight, perhaps back in Indianapolis for Game 6.
Mm, back in Indianapolis for Game 6. Well, well. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. Man from Soul, what's going on? What's going on in the NFL that you wanted to talk about? What's going on in the NFL today?
Mm, Uh, oof, not too much. Been pretty quiet. After the draft, people still want to talk about Penix Jr. going 8. I'm over that. I thought it was a good move. I mean, there's a lot of ifs in there with Kirk Cousins. I like what Denver did. I think Peyton now has, two guys he can look at and decide on which route he's going to go. I think the Steelers are in the opposite spectrum. I think their quarterback room is just it's suspect. I mean, until I see it, you know, um, the Steel City Twins, who I listen to on a regular basis, I like those guys out of Pittsburgh. Uh, they talk about the Steelers in the last two drafts potentially by fall of 2025 could have gotten 10 to 12 starters out of the last two drafts. That is great, but what they fail to talk about is the long-term solution at the quarterback position, because if you have a musical chair at quarterback and you got players all over the field, it doesn't matter. You know exactly where that team's going and how far they're going. It ain't very far. So until that is addressed, they can't. I don't even think those guys who are Steeler, basically Steeler anchormen, and fans, they can't speak on the Pittsburgh Steelers until they know they at least have a quarterback who's serviceable. And again, if you have one, and he's still playing against Burrow twice, Lamar twice, Deshaun twice. That you're 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 climbing up a pole with one hand tied behind your back. And again, I mean, I haven't even spoke upon the roster, but it's an arms race at quarterback. If you follow the quarterback, when you in terms of follow the quarterback and follow the hot quarterback, when we're talking about the end of the season and the postseason, and that'll tell you everything you need to know who's going to win. Until you have one, I don't care who's on your roster. You're not going to compete for championships.
Who do you think, as a head coach, who do you think is going to be on the hot seat this upcoming season?
Of course, McCarthy. Um, uh, uh, I would say the guy in Chicago because he got another chance.
Yeah, Matt.
Sirianni in Philadelphia. He
That
should have been gone this year.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Why this year? Whoa, whoa, whoa! After taking the Eagles to the Super Bowl the year before?
Correct, because of the absolute dumpster fire that they were last year. And again, they hired, and again, he got exposed because they hired two new coordinators, right? Defensive
Yeah.
coordinator got relegated to the press box, and they brought down Pencil from the press box to run the defense. Pencil was running the defense. Offense was struggling, and he let that guy sit there and struggle. And I'm like, wait a minute, why doesn't Sirianni just grab the playbook and start making stuff happen? Well, Sirianni coached with Frank Wright. Frank Wright called a play. Sirianni's never called a play in the NFL as an offensive coordinator. So Sirianni can't even take the reins when the house is on fire. It's just going to burn down. And then what do? They bring in, they fire the offense defense coordinator, keep Sirianni, and bring in Fangio and the ex-Cowboy and Charger offense coordinator. So that, to me, that leaves Sirianni's a lame duck. He's walking around there but everybody else is running the show. Vic Fangio, is he reporting to Sirianni's or report directly to the GM? I don't know what's going on there. They have a mess, man, and that locker room was a little bit messed up because and then you lose two stalwarts in that locker room in Kelsey and 91
Fletcher Cox.
Fletcher Cox. I mean, if they knew the team was moving a positive direction, would they have given it one more year? I don't know. We won't know. But it wasn't. You saw the end of their season. It was bad.
It was bad. I think the head coaches are probably going to end up being on the hot seat at some point in
I
time. I
promise you,
think
dude. If the Eagles sputter and they don't have any mojo, Sirianni's out of there.
I can tell you which coach is on the hot seat. Number one, number one, Brian Dayball. Brian Dayball is on the hot seat. What can he do with Daniel Jones? He didn't draft the quarterback, I don't think, in the draft. I don't
So
think
they
he
got to do
drafted the
something.
he didn't draft a quarterback, so you still got to pay that man $40 million. Now I know you got Drew Lock, but I mean, how good is Drew Lock going to be? He played
No, you got.
great.
They're all in on Daniel Jones because they didn't draft the person. And as you said, if Dayball can't get it out of him, well, here's the beauty of the situation is this: they paid the man, they got to pay the man anyway. So why not wait and see, and then you'll be back in the same position next year and take a quarterback. But taking a quarterback this year does what? It didn't really do anything. You're still paying him, and the quarterback sitting on the bench.
You're
Just
paying him.
wait. You got to be patient.
So to your credit, what you just said, Paul, is a correct thing because you're still paying Daniel Jones $40 million guarantee, and if they were to draft a quarterback, you're going to pay both quarterbacks each $80 million. One of them to start, one of them to not play.
Correct. From where they were drafted. I mean, I think it was a $30 million signing bonus. You know what I'm saying? Like, so why not spend that $30 million signing bonus on a receiver like they did? And now the receiver is your also future receiver for your next quarterback if Daniel Jones is out of here after this year.
Yep, you're not wrong. I think another coach on the hot seat is probably Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell, a great young coach for the Vikings, but I thought the Kirk Cousins thing was going to be a long term thing. And turned out it wasn't a long term thing. I think Kevin O'Connell really liked Kirk Cousins, but I think it was surprised that you know he went to the Falcons. I think that was a very surprise. I didn't expect him to bolt. Now I know the Vikings did struggle, but they finished the season pretty strong. But they struggled, with the injury of Achilles and then four quarterbacks. I think the Vikings are messing this up for Kevin O'Connell because there's no way Kevin O'Connell can be successful. Because, I mean, I know you got JJ McCarthy, but you got to look at your backups. Josh Dobbs was a turnover machine last year. Then you had two other quarterbacks. I think one of them that never. You had Jaron Hall, like a fifth-round draft pick last year, and he had one quarterback that never played a single down in the NFL. So it's tough. And then, and then you're talking about possibly trading away Justin Jefferson to possibly get the third pick for the Patriots. What are your thoughts on the Vikings? Because the Vikings playing in a tough division. The Lions are getting better. They went to the NFC Championship game, and then also you got the Green Bay Packers. Bringing back surprising went to the divisional round with Jordan Love. So what's in it for the Vikings?
They got a ways to go, man. They're caught in that little. They're just hanging out in the middle. I mean, I can see them finish in the middle of the pack in the NFL. I mean, and again, he'll get a pass for that. I mean, he got a rookie quarterback, and I think with a rookie quarterback and how he's produced, he will. I don't think he's on the hot seat. I don't think he's like up there where you don't mention Mike McCarthy and the rest of these other guys, like uh, Mike McCarthy and a few others. But I mean, it'll all pan itself out, man. It'll all pan itself out, and you'll see that. Like I told Matt Pat, the Cowboys are setting themselves up for a uh, a rebuild. Is all they're doing.
All right. One last
I
thing.
just find it odd. I just find it odd, and I would love for Matt Pat to be on here because I would ask him this question: why is Dak Prescott so quiet? I believe, personally, I think he has no leverage. He has zero leverage, and his only angle is to come in, play the best he can to try to get him a contract somewhere else.
I
I
agree with
mean,
you.
he's just in a pickle. Like they're not going to extend him. They can't bring in guys because of his contract. They're not going to give, yeah, and they won't give an extension to save, give themselves cap release, cap relief. They're saying, hey, you go out there and you prove you can play with the guys you have. If you take us deep, then we will give you a contract. But I think the chances are of them not giving him a contract, and he's playing for his own life this year, his extended life in the NFL.
I mean, when it comes to Dak Prescott, you're paying Dak Prescott $55 million in 9 seasons in the NFL. He's only won 2 playoff games. We're paying Brock Purdy less money. Mr. Irrelevant, seventh round. I know Dak Prescott's a fourth rounder. Where Brock Purdy took it to the Super Bowl and took it to the NFC Championship game in 2 seasons he started.
That hurts. That hurts.
It
I
doesn't.
mean that hurts his prognosis. I just I just can't wait till the season's over to see where he lands. Because this season, I don't anticipate them doing anything or making any noise. I just want to see how it turns out for McCarthy, which he won't be there anymore, and then where does Dak go? Where does Dak land?
All right.
And is he
Last thing.
okay with being a backup quarterback? Because you know
Ooh. That's gonna be like a Cam Newton situation right there.
the who?
That's
Yes,
gonna. I
yes,
said, if depending on what Dak go,
yes.
you say if he's gonna be a backup, that's gonna be like a Cam Newton situation.
Very similar.
Mm, that's tough. We'll figure that out later. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Last thing. Last thing we talk about college football. I've been peeping into the offseason with Colorado. I think the spring game. I peeped the spring game a little bit. Of course, the offense beat the defense, obviously. Um, what is your take on Colorado this year? I know Coach Prime's first year they went like 4-8. Started off 3-0, but they lost 7 of the last 8 games of the season. What are your thoughts on Colorado? Colorado moved to the Big Ten. So it's going to be tougher, tougher competition. What is your status on Colorado? Plus the new playoff picture, meaning I think this year it'll be a 12-team playoff bracket. Will Colorado be in the top 12 this year?
I don't think so. However, their over under of wins in Vegas is 5.5. So I'll take the over, and I see Colorado winning 6 or 7 games.
Coach Prime is not going to be gone after this year. Coach Prime already said publicly that he's not going to go anywhere where his sons go to the NFL. He's not going to follow them to the NFL. Coach Prime is not going to Dallas. All this talk, stop making the Cowboys relevant again because they're not relevant.
5.5 wins.
5.5, not 1.5. Coach Taylor is just trolling because he thinks the Dallas Mavericks are going to the finals and they're on the verge of losing to the Clippers. So I'm about to be right on that. I think when it comes to Colorado, they got a lot of people in the transfer portal. They're starting running back from last year, Dylan Edwards, I think, hit the transfer portal. Cromartie, I think their cornerback, hit the transfer portal. So there's a lot of guys um, jumping ship in that transfer portal. Um, Shador Sanders is probably the best player on the team, along with Travis Hunter. I think at the end of the day, when it comes to Colorado, their defense is not good. So they need to improve starting from that defense. I think they got a new defensive coordinator. Got a new offensive coordinator. I think Pat Shermer would be the offensive coordinator this year. He was a replacement. He was the interim last year. Um, but when it comes to Colorado, I don't trust them defensively just yet. Colorado is going to take about that. I think Colorado gets good around year three. I think year three is when Colorado gets good. You also got Warren Sapp as coaching defensive line, but I just don't understand how good they will be yet. And I think moving to a new conference, I think Colorado wins respectfully at least 6 games. I'll give them 6-6. I think they'll be better than 4-8. But these teams in the Big Ten or the Big 12, wherever they're at, as far as the new conference alignment, these teams gonna run them over. These teams gonna run Colorado over. I respect what Coach Fromm is doing, but at the end of the day, it comes down to consistency. And if that offensive line doesn't protect Shador, it's over.
I concur.
All right.
But
Totem Pole.
there'll be a
Oh,
bowl
go ahead.
team. There'll be a bowl team. They'll be over 5.5
What?
wins. There'll be a bowl team, meaning they'll have 6 wins or more. But I'd say six, no more than 7.
Okay, we'll have to see about that. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work they got to replace. We will see how it goes.
You get you give
Colorado
them? Do you give them 6 games?
6 or 5. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. That depends on who
Yeah.
they play. They play a real tough schedule.
Yep.
It's the same thing when we talked about Texas. Like Texas has a tough schedule. Like Texas going into the SEC, um, and Oklahoma going to the SEC. They play in Georgia, A&M, Florida, Alabama. I mean, it's not going to be easy. They're not going to go through the SEC as a
Not at
cakewalk.
all.
The SEC has the most. The SEC has the most players drafted in the NFL. That's the NFL league, and with Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC, they're going to struggle. I know they won 12 games, and Oklahoma won 10, and Texas was like one game away from the national championship game. But when we weeks ago when we elaborated on that schedule is nowhere near close for them to win those 12 games. They might win 8 at Georgia. I've already said it. They're at Georgia. They ain't gonna beat Georgia.
No.
Colorado State might give them a run for their money. I mean, I've already said it all, but I mean, to all you obnoxious people that think y'all know football, Oklahoma and Texas are going to struggle in the SEC. They're going to struggle. They're going to struggle in the SEC. I wish them luck, but I really don't. But Totem Pole Nation, Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back on tomorrow at the same time at 4 o'clock. We are sponsored by St. Pete. Rejuvenate. Totem Pole Nation is the best content in America. It's me, Lambo, and then we got the man from Soul. We will be back tomorrow, same time at 4 o'clock. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, Silent Sports Network, for the platform. And I tell you this when it comes to Total Post Sports. The thing for content, the best content, the known. We are not ESPN. We are not Fox. And we are not Barstool. We are better than ESPN, Barstool, FS1. We are better than any platform on America. Totem Pole Sports is on the way to rise. We will have our own network. We will have our own stadium. It will be a Totem Pole Bowl coming up in the next 6 years. Guaranteed that. By the way,